Hey, let's bring in our first guest of the day, Eric Holt, metal artist. Eric, how's it going?
Good,
how are you, sir?
Very well, thank you.
Nice to see you. A metal artist.
Yes.
So you're a welder.
Yes.
Okay, but that's not all you do. You bend and right?
Yeah, exactly. Forming.
How did you
hammering.
get into this? Did you want welding as a trade?
Not so much. My father was a sheet metal worker for his whole life. He's still around and helping me out doing projects, but he had a big shop, and I had my hands on it, and I had the curiosity, so it just kind of came naturally for me.
What did you start making? What were the first things you were making?
First thing I ever made artistically, I started messing around with copper plumbing pipe, of all things, and turning those into plant stands and stuff like that, you know, sconces and stuff. And I started selling that, realized that I was able to do it, and I was successful with it, so then I just kind of started the ball rolling.
Awesome.
And, yeah.
So, was your dad, being that he was a professional sheet metal worker, was he creative with it?
In his mind, not so much, but I think he was. I mean, I think that back in those days when they actually made ducting instead of the stuff that they use now, which is kind of prefabricated, he had to use a lot of his
And that
creativity.
ducting that he made lasts a long time.
It's
That
still
stuff that
around.
they make now gets holes in it easily.
Right,
It
it
gets-
falls apart.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I thought he was quite creative, although he sees what I do now and he thinks that it's entirely different.
How old were you when you started getting into it?
Well, I was in metal shop by 8th grade, and
Back when they had metal shops
back
still,
when
right?
it was metal shop, correct.
And they knew your dad was the sheet metal guy?
Yeah, I might have even cheated a little bit with the amount of help that I got with him at home on some of my projects in school, but yeah.
That's okay, right?
great.
I don't think that's cheating at all.
Right.
I think
Nepotism.
that's more of an education probably than you were getting in your class.
I think it was, most definitely.
So you start out making your plant stands, your sconces and stuff, but it's gotten a lot bigger than that.
Yes, it has. Much bigger.
So was that here in Fresno that you started?
No, I started when I was living in San Francisco.
Okay.
And that's when I started with the small things, started marketing them, started selling them right away, had really good success.
On street corners or?
No, a couple of stores/galleries, I guess you could say.
Right.
And one of the first big sales I had that really bolstered me was I had some stuff in a store on Fillmore Street in San Francisco. First person that ever came in to buy one was Sammy Hagar.
Oh, the Red Rocker.
The Red Rocker.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
a
kind
big
of in the
fan
news
of.
lately, you know.
Yeah, I saw an
Him and
interview with
Eddie are fighting,
Yes, they
fighting
are.
again.
But anyways, he bought a piece of mine, and that was a huge, huge shot in the arm for me. And
Did you get to meet him?
No, I unfortunately did not get to meet him, although I would have loved to have.
What piece was it?
It was a freestanding plant stand that was made out of this copper plumbing pipe.
Can I
that
ask you how
telling
much it was?
It was about $600.
Well, that's pretty expensive for a plant stand,
It
right?
was all right. In
Good old Sammy
1995.
Hagar. Okay, and then what?
Just kept going, kept doing more of it. We
Did
moved.
people start commissioning stuff?
Yeah, it took a little while. I moved away from the copper, got into steel and doing sculptures, more abstract sculptures out of metal that I was forming. By then I was living in Spokane, Washington with my family. Started doing kind of art fairs, street fairs,
Right.
and continued selling work, and then started getting commissions out of that.
What kind of stuff do people have you make for them?
Well, nowadays it's mostly my sculpture that I'm designing. They'll see something that I've made, and maybe they'll want
to replicate it?
something replicated, or everything's one of a kind that I build. So something similar.
Okay.
So I mean, I do get to have that kind of that creative control over most of what I'm doing, but that's fine. I also do furniture and architectural stuff.
You
as
make
well.
metal furniture?
Yeah, I do.
Like what?
Bed frames, entertainment centers, tables.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, have we been showing any of these pictures as we was going?
I wanted you to.
Okay, great. Because I don't want to miss them myself. Let's take a look at this one right here. Tell me about this one, Eric.
Okay, that one's called Praying Hands. That's actually a series that I've done a number of. That's probably the most popular sculpture that I've done. Like I said, every one is different. None of them are like patterned one after the other. But that's been a very successful piece.
What was the size of that?
Well, the original one was probably about 18 inches tall. I just placed one in a private residence in Carmel Highlands, which was 10 feet tall.
Wow.
So it's grown
Awesome.
considerably.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And this next one, very cool. What is this?
That one is called the Dream Weaver. That one's actually photographed in Roding Park a few years back. It's a kinetic sculpture. It spins. It turns in the wind.
Wait, have I seen this? around
You
town?
may have. It's at Chris Sorensen's gallery where I'm working now.
I have seen
Yeah,
this.
it's there. It's
Nice.
there, yeah.
Nice. And how long have you known Chris Sorensen?
I've only lived in Fresno for about a year and a half. I moved back last October, October before last, actually. And I was working out of a garage which I quickly outgrew, and I moved into Chris's space. And it's been awesome ever since.
And what an awesome guy for you.
Wonderful guy.
I mean, for you and him, you just
Yeah,
got to
we're-
be able to just talk and talk and talk.
Yeah, it's fantastic. He's actually having a 90th birthday party this Saturday at his
I know he
studio.
is. I know he
Give him a
is.
little
That's
plug.
awesome. Okay, this one right here.
That is just an upward view of the same sculpture, the Dreamweaver, as is that one.
Wow. And this, again, Eric, what's the size of that one?
That one's 15 feet tall.
Wow. What's it made out of?
It's made out of stainless steel with a mild steel, basically a giant pipe base.
Where do you get your stuff?
As far as materials?
Yeah.
Well, Valley, I think it's called Valley Ironworks, is where I'm buying a lot of my stuff now. I don't do a lot of scrapyard type of things, although sometimes I do. I've never really gotten into the found art kind of movement, I
Right.
guess you could say. I like to polish it up a lot and,
Okay.
and make it not look like what it originally
So
was.
if people are watching right now thinking, "Hey man, I'm gonna give Eric a call, tell him to come get all this scrap metal off my property," you don't want it.
Well, I don't have much of it,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, I use quite a bit of what I purchase.
But there are people down there at Chris Sorensen's that would appreciate some
Sure.
scrap metal people
Well-
had laying around.
Well,
Amy
there
Cole.
is quite a bit of scrap metal laying around
Yeah,
at Chris Sorensen's
I
studio.
know there is. Have you met Amy Cole?
Yes, I have.
Do you work with her?
Yeah, well, we haven't worked on a project together, but yeah,
She's a pretty awesome person
Yes,
herself,
she
isn't
is.
she?
Yes, she's quite the little dynamo.
Very, very creative.
Yes, she is.
Awesome. Our next piece that we're going to look at it here, Eric. Tell me about this one.
Okay, that one is called Absolute Music. It's a mild steel sculpture on a stone base. I actually reworked that sculpture. I don't have a photograph to show to you now, but can't really tell you an inspiration for it. That's just one of the few that I just sat down and drew a picture of and took off with.
How is that attached, and how does it stand on that stone?
Well, it's there's 4 holes drilled through the stone, and there's nuts at the bottom of the base, and bolts go through the bottom of the stone.
Goes through to
Yes,
it.
and basically it's bolted down to that stone.
Because I'm looking at the angle of it, and I'm thinking, gosh, that thing's got to be heavy.
Yeah, and it somewhat defies gravity just visually,
Uh-huh.
which is one of my intentions.
What does a piece like that weigh?
Well, the base on that alone was about 560 pounds, and the upper probably another 100.
Wow.
I just installed the finished sculpture, reworked sculpture in a private residence in La Quinta, California.
Nice. How are people finding you?
Through galleries. I have a gallery in Portland, Oregon, where I was living for the last 15 years. Have another gallery in Palm Deserts. Have another gallery that just recently closed in Carmel, but I'm still getting some business through them as well.
Awesome. This one, this is at someone's home?
Yes, it is. That's actually an unfinished photograph of the sculpture. You can see the base isn't quite done, but the name of that one is Daphne, and that's another mild steel sculpture set on stone. That's been reworked as well and is being shown at Gallery 903 in Portland, Oregon right now.
How do you get your inspiration for these things?
That's really a tough question because it comes to me randomly.
Does it come to you while you're working it?
I guess you could say that. I mean,
Really?
sometimes you'll be working on one project and that will kind of give birth to another idea. That certainly happens. It's very rare that I actually draw something down on paper. It's not one of my skills, painting or illustrating. In fact, 2 of the sculptures that you just shown here were from drawings that I just sat down and just scribbled, and it was something I wanted to run with, so I did.
How do you decide which type of metal to use? Is it what you have handy?
No, I think it's more or less what the form will kind of, will ask of me,
Okay.
whether it needs to be
Fair enough.
shiny or
Yeah.
rusty.
Okay.
You can see some of them, like the Dreamweaver. To me, that's just a very flowy piece, and so I wanted to put the texture on the steel and let you see that. Whereas other ones will be rusty. It looks more of a mottled, not shiny effect.
How do you take something like that and bend it? I mean, you're talking about 15-foot sculptures. How are you bending this metal? You
Mostly,
heating it?
No heat. Rarely using heat. Mostly bending it by hand. You see these big, massive sculptures, but they're actually about 1/8 inch thick plate steel. that are welded together on the corners, and that creates those big forms. So it's
it's not as much bending as it looks.
It's as much bending, but it's not as difficult of bending as it looks. If it was 1/4-inch thick steel, I could never do it.
Right.
Whereas if it's this certain thickness that I've kind of become fond of, and I know that I can work, it's really not that difficult.
Do you like working with younger kids, guys that are interested in what you're doing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great to share that knowledge and move forward, just like Chris has done with so many people,
right,
as my father has done with me. So yeah.
What at Sorensen's studio? What are people saying to you when they're meeting you for the first time?
They appreciate my work. A lot of them very much enjoy what they're seeing. Mm-hmm. It's got a really high polish, and it's a very refined type style of work that I'm doing. So I'm certainly well received there.
That was my next question. Are the people of Fresno treating you good?
Yeah, it's great.
Are they buying your stuff?
Slowly, but yes. I'm still selling a lot of stuff out of the area, but it's coming along.
Awesome.
I've got a commission for a couple of table bases I'm doing locally right now.
Right on.
Yeah.
If there's people out there that want to get a hold of you,
yeah,
how do they do that?
I believe my number's up on the screen, or you can come down and visit me at Chris Sorensen's studio. Art Hop every first Thursday of the month, and I'm usually there every time, so pretty easy to find.
Or we'll see you this Saturday, huh?
Yes, you will.
What time's the party kick off?
I believe it starts at noon.
All right. Eric, thank you very much
for
coming on. It's nice meeting you, bud. You're very talented.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back in the buzz. Stick around.